Welcome back to the Perfect Lap Podcast. I'm Mark Jager. This is Mark Kilgore. He goes by Kilgore. I go by Jager. And today we have ourselves Kal Fortner. He's going to be talking with us about GridLife Circuit Legends at Lime Rock Park. And we're going to be really talking to him also about his number 14 AMG GT, which is a real surprise in the time attack world to actually have an AMG GT in the realm, which is super cool. So, all right, Kal. Do me a favor.
Okay.
Where did it really get started for you, man? Where the heck did this journey for you get going?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go back like completely to the beginning, I mean, my dad brought me home a copy of Gran Turismo when I was like 6 years old. I
Gran
mean, if you want to
Turismo
go
got
all the way
another.
that far back,
Got
that's what really did
another,
it.
man. Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, I mean, it kind of led to like what actually got me started and got like that hook in me was like sim racing. I mean, like I got just like a regular like I think it was a Logitech G27 back then, and there was some kind of Logitech wheels. And I started like racing on just Gran Turismo 5. It was back when they first started doing the whole GT Academy thing. And I was like 12 or 13 at the time, and I wasn't eligible for
Oh
any of it.
God.
Yeah. But
12 or
I kept
13,
going through all
jeez.
the time trials and stuff. I got in like the top 100 in the world just off of the lap times. And
Wow.
I was like, okay, like this is something like I could actually like try and get into. And I kept doing it. And like, okay, like if I'm competing with these guys that are like actually eligible to be in this, like maybe I should try out this racing thing and at least see if I can attempt to do it when I can get a driver's license. Cause that was also when I thought that like in order to drive a race car, you'd have to have a driver's license. I didn't really know much about like any of it back then. But yeah, then I just started sim racing and then I finally got my driver's license. I got a $2,000 Audi A6 and it was a 2001 A6 4.2, and I entered that in some autocross events, and that thing was not a good car for autocross. Like, who knew, right? It's a giant Audi that's super heavy. But like in a way that kind of helped me out because like ever since the start, I've been driving cars that like aren't really like the most ideal thing for track stuff. So like when I got out of cars like that and into cars that were actually even remotely good on a racetrack, it was like, oh, okay, this is like a lot easier than what it was before. So yeah, I did some autocross. Then I entered my first beginner track day. It was at Audubon Country Club, and it felt like I was already above the beginner class, which like I'm not one to really like say that people should try to do exactly what I did because I think that it's kind of dangerous for a beginner to say, oh, like, well, I don't belong in beginner. But in my case, that's actually how it was, where like I was lapping much faster than people that were in like actual track cars and Audi A6, and that shouldn't have been happening. Like I just had regular KW street suspension on it and stock power. I think those made like 250 wheel, and the thing weighed close to 4,000 pounds. So it's not like it was really like meant for that kind of stuff. And yeah, then I started doing more track days, more autocross, and I saw a YouTube video for GridLife, and that's kind of how that connection started.
That's
Well,
cool.
I'm going to tell you right now, man, like it's kind of an interesting one because for me, that was kind of a similar journey per se, minus I was kind of before the sim racing aspect. But by the time I got to the point where I was going to go to a track day, friends of mine, the friend of mine that really pushed me to get into track day stuff, he pushed and said, "Don't sign up for the beginner. Do not
Mm.
sign up for the beginner. Just jump and go to the intermediate." He's like, "It'll be way more fun." He's like, "Honestly, the beginner group is actually much more terrifying to be in." Now, granted, I will say I probably would have benefited from how track organizations semi do it now, where you can do the beginner and then get into the intermediate, because if you go out and beginner, it lets you like see the track for the very first time. But I was in the same boat in the sense of like, I mean, I showed up in a little bit better of a car, a Subaru STI for my very first track day, which is a little bit better in terms of going out on track for the very first time anyways. But yeah, it was a similar event in that sense. So paint us a picture for the pure audio listeners, right? Paint us a picture of this Audi of glory that you took out on the track for the very first time.
Oh, okay. So you're ready for like the ultimate race car then. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it had like that nice like grandma tan interior, like
Oh
no
yeah.
bolsters on the seats. The car, I mean, like I had to physically hold on to the steering wheel, like because the seat wasn't holding me in.
So you
Like I
had the
was
2
sliding
points
around
of
the
the
entire
steering
time.
wheel here, and then you had the left foot pressed firmly on the third, fourth pedal. It
Dead
was, I
pedal.
assume it was an actual stick.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it wasn't. No,
Oh,
it was the cheapest car I could find. Yeah,
oh,
it had the old like like the Audi Tiptronic transmission, like the worst
oh,
thing in the world. Yeah, I had
yeah,
one of those things in it. Yeah, no, it wasn't even a stick shift. That thing was awful.
man. And so
Yeah,
you said you autocross that too. So I'm gonna I sorry, I have to pick your brain on this, and I'm not picking on autocrossers, and I'm not trying to throw any shade, but what
You
you
watch yourself, Jaeger. Come on now.
what's your thoughts? Like, do you still autocross?
I do not.
D- When you did it, what do you think? When you, as soon as you did that threshold, you went from autocross to track. Could you? Is there like was that like the line of like, oh, I'm never going back?
I mean, like, so I did a couple autocrosses after I got into Time Attack. Like, I started Time Attack in 2017. That was like my first one. It was like GridLife Midwest, which is like in hindsight probably the worst event to do your first Time Attack event at. Even though I love GridLife Midwest, by far my favorite event, but also like the wrong environment to learn. But that's another thing. But like I went back to a little bit of autocross, and in my opinion, I think it's a really great thing to learn from because like it teaches you to be quick, it teaches you how to catch a slide, it teaches you how to have proximity, like proper proximity to things that aren't going to hurt you. Because if you hit a cone, you're fine. On
Yeah.
track, if you tap a wall, like you got more of a problem. So I think it kind of teaches you that in an aspect. And yeah, there is like pro solo and like high level autocross, and I respect that a lot because like I think autocross is very impressive to be able to set those times on a cone course where you have to be like incredibly precise the entire time. But like for me at least, it's not something that I just wanted to like continue or do the rest of my life. It just
It was a good
didn't really
starting
interest me.
point.
Yeah.
It was a good starting point. It taught you valuable lessons in the automotive echelon in terms of motorsports. It was a good stepping stone for you to go from one to the other. We've had this discussion before where we talk about build up or this, that, and the other, right? And I'll be the first to say this, right? Like, people can also say the same thing for time attack to wheel racing, right? They can say, "Oh, well, you get in time attack, and the first time you touch wheel to wheel racing, you'll never go back to time attack." Personally, I go down a path of there's something about time attack and going all out. Like, there's nothing held back. You're just full bore, going as fast as you possibly can be in time attack, that you can't get in a wheel to wheel situation, because generally speaking you're concerned, right? You're trying to make sure that you can hold that little bit of back because you need to hold tires for the next lap or the next thing, or make sure you have something at the end of the race. Whereas obviously in time attack it doesn't matter. Obviously there's a little stipulation now with some of the new rules in grid life with the track battle stuff.
Hmm.
But in like the weekend with Lime Rock Park, it's a full tilt. Every lap means everything. So just be the fastest you can possibly be. But yeah, so interesting as an overall, right? Like, I definitely find it interesting when people transition and move. So it was for you, obviously, sim racing to autocross, from autocross moving into the next echelon of moving into the look
Oh,
at
look at
that,
that.
bringing up the
Yeah,
Audi.
there it is.
He's got red. He got red in the back. He's got, so tell me, are these vinyl or paint?
No, no, neither. You're gonna love this. It was Plastidip. Did that in my garage.
There
Even
you go.
better.
Yeah.
So we got like a cream. Is that like a cream white, kind of a pearl white
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Audi
so the like kind of
A6?
creamy pearl white. Uh-huh.
Yeah, with the gray white, yeah, red Audi kind of colors. It seems as though scrolling through your Instagram that you were a bit of an Audi fanatic early on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was a big Audi guy. I mean, like I still am deep down, but not for my street cars or anything that I want to race. I actually still have like the time attack car that came after that one, which is an Audi S4. It's a B7 S4.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Nick Swan from GridLife. He's the drift
Yeah.
director there. Okay. So he named that car Loudy because it is like by far the loudest Audi you're gonna hear, and it like at any given weekend, probably the loudest car on track. I don't know how it got like that, but it's just got lowered compression by a little bit. It's got a Vortex supercharger, came with a 4.2 liter V8, and it just makes really good noises. It's 500 wheel.
Yeah,
So
I
nothing
think it's
too
pretty
crazy,
sick looking.
but thank you. Yeah, so that was another car where like it wasn't the ideal platform on track. But that came after the A6 because the A6 it met a demise on the road,
Okay.
unfortunately. Yeah, that wasn't fun. So then I had to kind of scramble to find a car after that. And the S4 came about because of that. And it was about a month before my first ever time attack event.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you
So
ended up
like
in the
that thing
mad
was totally
dash
stopped.
already?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Like right starting out, I guess you call like my career in time attack or whatever, like already just doing the mad dashes right before an event, freaking out, trying to figure out how to make it.
Hey, at least at least you got to experience that in the beginning, right? Most people don't get to experience that until years into time attack, trying to figure out, oh crap, what car? How am I going to get there? Well, oh my god, what's going on? So, so you said you did a little bit of time attack in the S4, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of
I
your
mean,
favorite
actually,
tracks in the
that car was
S4?
running for a long time. But
Okay.
what was that?
What were
Yeah.
some of your favorite tracks driving in the S4?
So it's still my favorite track, but by far Roadlanta. Like I love that place. Um, and that was a track where like that car's weak points, because I don't know if you're aware of like how the B7 S4 is set up, or really even like any B7 Audi with a V8. It's like the opposite of a Porsche. It's got this like giant V8 engine, and it's sitting in front of the front axle. So even
Oh
though it's
gosh.
all-wheel drive, like you have to drive it like a very heavy front-wheel drive car. Like so you have to do anything and everything, even setting up like a front-wheel drive car,
It
and
sounds
you have to
gross
make sure
from
the
the
car can
start.
rotate anywhere. Yeah, like it was very challenging to drive. And like I had a buddy hop in the car. It was at a GridLife event, and this is nothing on him whatsoever, but it shows that you really have to like know that car to drive it fast, because he hopped into an Autobahn and he was about 15 seconds slower than what I was lapping in. And he's not a bad driver by any means.
I
He's been
mean,
in time attack for a bit, and it just was
sometimes,
such a different experience.
yeah, I'll say sometimes, especially when you put drivers in very uncomfortable situations, to your buddy's credit, right? Like I always say this: if Kilgore threw me the keys to the BM, I'm not gonna, he goes, go have some fun with it. I'm not gonna touch his best lap time likely because I don't want to put it into the wall, foreshadowing. And so, just one of those situations where you just you don't want to hurt someone else's car just for some enjoyment. Like I've driven a ton of people's cars, and one of the things I pride myself on is being very like respectful to those cars, of putting in good laps, solid laps, getting good impressions of cars, but never causing, damage to those cars, because that's hard. Some guys,
Oh yeah.
I know a handful of guys off the top of my head where I would literally never give them the keys to my car, because every lap is flat out, every
Mhm.
lap, and it doesn't matter whose car. And if that means to beat your lap time, they need to put four wheels in the dirt, and they need to slide, and they're gonna do it. And to me, I guess you have to push that ego aside a little bit and go, I don't care. I don't care about that. And just go have some fun, man. I mean, I'm privileged. I'll go with privileged in the sense where I didn't have a car to drive at Coda, but a buddy of mine, he was nice enough to say, "Here's the keys to my GT3," and go do some laps at Coda, which was extremely nice of him to let me be able to drive that GT3 around Coda, even though I did spin it because he gave me terrible tires, so I blame him.
He did. He did have terrible tires. He ended up borrowing Gabe Zamora's like used supercar 3Rs and dropped his time by like 5 seconds or something like that.
Oh,
7
7
seconds.
seconds. Yes.
Yeah, those are terrible tires.
Yes.
So
love you, James. We love you, buddy.
You
yeah,
can definitely blame the tires on that one. That's fair.
but okay, so you did the Audis. You had some fun in the. Do you still you said you still have that last Audi?
Oh yeah, yeah, and that car, it's gonna make a comeback eventually. Not
Okay,
sure
all right.
in what form, but we're throwing around either GLGT or going really stupid and making it a drift car. One or the other.
Okay.
I like
I
both
mean,
ideas.
both of those are interesting options. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Because of my lack of enthusiasm for drift, I will vote one way.
yeah, yeah. Understandable.
So
I have to imagine there's got to be some kind of cool. I'm trying to think of like. I feel like there were some cool Audi S4 kind of DTM
oh yeah,
touring cars back in the day, like sort of a replica or like some of those kind of that body style would be pretty sick.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of leaning more towards the GLGT thing now because the car, like, as it sits, like, fits pretty perfect into that wheel set. It just needs a proper wheel-to-wheel cage, not a half time attack cage, and that's about it. But
Okay.
car's
Have you
fine.
done Have you done any other like wheel to wheel racing previously or up to this
No,
point?
no,
Okay.
it kind of touch on like Mark Yeager's point. It kind of like time attack brought me in, and I kind of fell in love with time attack so much to where like I put just all of my time and effort into time attack. And like I love wheel to wheel stuff. I really want to do it someday. But like it's just it hasn't been that high of a priority for me because I love the idea of just going for a lap and just giving 11 tenths and just seeing like where you stack up. Because you don't get that in wheel to wheel. There's more tire management, there's more strategy involved. There's never really a moment other than even in qualifying, you're not really doing that. Like where you just go for that ultimate lap. You only find that in time attack.
yeah, it's much easier when you have the spacing and everything that time attack grants you that allows you to really throw down those heaters. And I'm gonna say, obviously we haven't quite gotten there yet, but with the AMG, one of the most interesting things about watching you turn really fast laps in this AMG is you see the weight of this car on a constant. When I see you hit berms and go over stuff, and you see how much time and effort that you have to put into the suspension damping to make sure this car isn't just bouncing all over the place like a pogo at the same time of just making sure it's not bottoming out like crazy. Man, you can see the weight of that car and what you have to do to manage that. So let's get into it. Let's get into the AMGT. So how'd you get this
Yeah.
thing? Where did this come about?
Okay. So it's kind of funny. I'm actually going to credit Dewey with this in a
Oh
roundabout way.
no. We can't
Yeah.
credit you
Like
with
it's
anything. It'll all go right
difficult
to
to
his
credit
head.
him for anything, but I have to credit him for this because this was at Road America, like the last GridLife Road America that wasn't a festival. And we brought out like the Audi supercharged and stuff. It was faster there, but like it still wasn't like up to pace for like how crazy Street Mod is. And Dewey just was blunt and said, like, you're a good driver, but it's time to find a different platform. And that kind of just like hit me a little bit. It's like, okay, like I love this car and I love the idea of running such a wild Audi in time attack because I like being unique in time attack. I think that's one of the other cool aspects of time attack is that you can pick almost anything and find a class it fits into. So I really enjoy that. So the Mercedes came about after looking at a few different car options and trying to figure out something that was somewhat cost effective because it's still a GTS. It's not like a GTR or anything. Like those are going for anywhere from 60 to 80, like kind of Corvette prices now. And something that you're not just going to see 10 of at any given track day. Like it was one of those things like with the Audi that I kind of found a lot of success with was being able to get different sponsors and stuff on a car that like was mid pack. It wasn't really like doing anything impressive other than just being different and looking cool. So I wanted to combine the two and like find a platform that, yeah, it's still not like the most, I guess, common thing you're going to see at the track, but it's going to be a whole lot more competitive than the Audi, and still look really good, and still have like that unique factor to it,
The
because I've
the
always found that to be really important.
that unique factor is critical to me. Like that's one thing that I despise with like the latest and greatest. And me and Kilgore have hit this a million times in our podcast. But Corvettes, Supras, like when I see your car there, it makes me excited because it's just, again, there's only gonna be one. Maybe if you get lucky on a day, there might be two, but it's so awesome to see just a completely different car there at the event. And that's something that resonates with me in Time Attack, right? Like I like to see the Civics, the Integras, I mean, I'm probably one of the weirdest car people in the world in the sense that like when I see like a Lamborghini at Time Attack, I kind of roll my eyes. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like I want to see more cars that like the average guy can pick up and go have fun with, and it's not just like I bought a Lamborghini and I drive it. Like
Yeah.
I want to see guys have the fun of modifying their cars and having the, I hate to say, but the turmoils that goes along with that, where you're going to have to go through those strifes. You're going to have, pros and cons of each car. Like you said, the one thing I liked about you talking about the Audi was it wasn't a perfect race car. Like you had an engine that sat way over the front axle, which makes you have to drive it like a front wheel drive car, and you're having to adapt to these things, and you as the driver is having to extract all this out of it. To me, that's what makes those stories so cool. And whether or not you ever podium, I think that's what makes the story of that exponentially unique and awesome. So,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
that's me, right? Like, and that's
Yeah.
where seeing you in the AMG, I love seeing it out there. It's also just a badass looking car too. So always
It
that as
is.
well.
I had a couple. I don't know if I'm gonna call them revelations because they weren't really revelations, but reaffirmances. And Jaeger, as you said, we've talked about this, and Kyle, I totally echo your point. But as I was at Lime Rock Park this weekend, I took a little bit of time to kind of go walk around the grounds and seeing like there were a bunch of fans like on the hillside, right? Like they had spent their time, they had come out, they were there to like, they were set up, they had like tents, chairs, they were eating food, drinking. There were like people who'd come and they were camping out for the weekend. And I'm kind of looking around like these people could be doing anything else with their weekend, but they're deciding to come out to this GridLife event because they want to see super cool cars. And I think like we should challenge people to build cool cars.
Yeah.
Not just I mean, yeah, we want you to be fast, you want to compete and all that kind of stuff, but like build something cool, unique, and make it fast. And Jaeger, to your point, which I think is super cool, which is the fastest car there this weekend was a freaking Honda Civic.
Yeah.
I don't know how that makes us feel or how that makes us look, but like a freaking Honda Civic driven by Jimmy Rauk like kicked everybody's butt, which is awesome.
I love it.
Right?
Love it.
And so like I think like yeah, like we should be building cool cars. And
Yeah,
so
I
Kyle,
totally agree.
mad props to you for doing that, and an Audi, a couple different Audis, this AMG, like that's what we need more of. Absolutely.
Thank you. And like I fully agree with that. And like to go on that point too, like my street car is an A90 Supra, and like no shaded Supras, I love those. That's why I bought one. But like I chose to not do any sort of track stuff with that whatsoever, because now at any given time attack event you see like 10 Supras and they're all really fast.
Yeah.
Like you build a Supra, there's a formula now, like thanks Jackie, where you can like just build an incredibly fast Supra, and you can go online and figure out like all the steps to do to make that Supra really fast in time attack and really competitive right away. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it lacks the unique factor now. Like,
Yeah.
and it goes for a lot of different like track cars where like if the formula is already there, it's gonna be a lot easier to make it competitive. Like, sure, you have to drive it, and that's another challenge in itself. Like,
Yeah.
you have to always focus on yourself as a driver. I'm huge on that also. But there's more of a challenge to like finding a platform that no one's really done anything like this with, and then attempt to make it competitive.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna run into things that, like with like an Evo, for instance, like people have ran into those weird issues on those cars like 10 or 15 years ago, maybe even more than that. And they're already well documented, like in every forum online of like things to look out for. Like if you find a car that no one's really competed with or no one's even done track stuff with, there's not really going to be anything out there saying, okay, well, watch out for this, or you got to like modify this, or else this is going to break. Like that doesn't exist. You
Yeah.
have to kind of figure that all out yourself.
What's been your experience like? So, you've had the GT for how long, or is it a GT or GTS? All right, let's first get this
GTS.
right. All right, GTS.
GTS,
Sorry.
yeah.
So, how long have you had it?
2022. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going on about 3 years. What's been your progress? What's been your process for like going through that and figuring out when you run into a problem? What do you do? And I'm also asking this in a little bit of I have my own personal interest in taking a car that maybe some people haven't really ever done anything with. Like, what's been your process for that?
So it kind of like has to do with going out on track and pushing it as hard as you can and figuring out what's going to break.
Sure.
And like it sounds kind of bad to do that, but you have to, because if you
Sure.
don't do that, then like you're kind of guessing at it. So that's what we did for the first season. We originally were planning on just having the car run completely stock. But that's up until APR came on board and sent us a splitter and a wing just to kind of like make the car look the part at least. And that helped us a ton, at least having like some proper downforce on the car. But like other than that, like we put a Brookline subframe in and then just kept drivetrain stock, suspension stock for like, the first couple events. And we really wanted to see like where the car stacked up, because if you don't have a baseline at all, you're not really going to know what you're changing is actually like improving. Like you're still guessing. Like sure, like there's the basics like putting on coilovers or upgrading the brakes or adding power, which like sure that's going to help, but you don't know how it's helping and by how much unless you start with like a true baseline.
So
So that's
give
what
us a
we did
little.
for the first couple events.
So give us a little input here. You mentioned brakes and power. So we'll go with make you go, make you stop. What
Mhm.
kind of challenges did you face with the brakes, and then give our listeners an understanding of what power it kind of comes with for guys that aren't really attuned, including ourselves, to this car, and then what have you modified it to?
Okay. So, like, I mean, starting out, we just wanted to change pads, like just brake pads. That was it. Because it already has
Sorry,
like a pretty.
we're already going to ask more questions. Did that come with
That's
some
okay.
carbon ceramics originally, or were they steel
No,
iron?
they were steel. Like I
Okay.
made an active decision to not do the carbon ceramics because
Smart
those are
man.
just insanely expensive,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's like a
Everybody
marginal
should do
difference of
that.
cost.
Yeah. If you have a choice, deselect that option.
Yeah. I did make a decision to find an AMG GTS Edition 1, which comes with its downsides, which we'll get to because that's part of the thing we're talking about, how like you run into some things on a platform nobody's tracked before that people with street cars don't run into. Um, but I wanted to have the carbon roof. That's something that they didn't have like on really any other GTSs unless you made like a very special request to get it. So this one has a nice carbon roof instead of the glass roof that most of them have. Um, but like other than that, like with the brakes, like we're trying a bunch of different pad compounds, and that actually took us a long time to really figure out something that like I really enjoyed and liked. Because like it's a heavy car, like you guys know that. So like in order to like have a heavy car, like give the kind of like confidence under braking that you would get like in a lighter like DRZ or something like that, like you really have to have like some very good pad compounds to be able to accomplish that. So like there was running a lot of stuff of like where it just didn't have like the initial bite that I was looking for. And like I was running with it and kind of enjoying it, but it wasn't really like all the way there. And then about a year and a half in, Dewey just threw me a set of EBC SR21s. And I had those at Road America. It's kind of funny that like they weren't cut all the way properly at first because it was like a demo set. So at first I was like, oh, like these things, they're not working. They seized up and stuff. I was like, dude, what'd you give me? And then Yeah, and then like I talked with EBC and they're like, no, like they're a little too thick because it's a new platform for us. So then they shaved them down a bit, and like I ran them again, and it was like a night and day difference because it's like a true like sprint compound, and you need that like on a car like this. Like a lot of guys are throwing like different pads at me to say, okay, like try these because they make it easier to modulate, or you can like get into it more and have more feel. And it's like for me, I have like a pretty sensitive foot when it comes to the brake pedal. So like I don't need something that you can just like modulate easily. I need something where like I'm getting on it like at Road America, for instance, running 170. And I need to get on that brake and have it like feel like it's ripping my face off. Because if it's not doing that right away, it's not very confidence inspiring driving a car that weighs that much flying into turn one, like hoping it's gonna stop on time. Like I need to have like something there.
Yeah, it's one of those things, especially when you're talking about those kind of speeds. If you're lacking any brake confidence by any stretch of the imagination, that's going to hinder your ability to go fast.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I know from my experiences in with like my Subaru and stuff like that, right? And we'll get to the power levels of your car here in a minute, but when you start talking about the different power levels and going higher and higher and higher, especially, I mean, anytime really, but you really have to make sure that you feel confident when you press that brake pedal, it's going to be there. I know that's something, again, I struggled with as I built my Subaru up. The stock brake system was not enough. And then, so I tried to band-aid it with titanium shims and brake ducts and like all these crazy things. And then finally I said, screw it, I'm going to go to a big brake kit and put those on, and then took all the other stuff off and just was happy because the car actually stopped. And then eventually Dewey got to use those those big brake kits. So Dewey
Oh,
got
that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
to and then so, but yeah, it's just one of those things though where um you have to have that confidence. And so I understand what you're saying, and playing with the compounds, I did the same thing. I found Project Mew to kind of be my happy spot. I really wish I could remember off the top of my head what they were, but man, those Project Mew pads, they were perfect.
Mm.
They just were everything I needed them to be. They came on quick, felt confident in the braking. At one point, I even tried one of their NASCAR compounds,
Oh, that's
which
fun.
was interesting, but I had to
Yeah, I
like
bet.
drag the brake the entire warm up to get the pad to essentially work on the first like braking point, because
Wow.
they just wouldn't have any real bite unless I like drug the brake. So we went backwards and went back to a nicer compound, which was also nicer to the rotors too. So that was kind of a nice factor there.
Hmm.
Cool.
So tell us, Cal. So you worked. So now do you work? It sounds like Dewey might have made an introduction there to EBC.
Yeah, yeah, and like that helped a ton because he knew that I was kind of like just getting frustrated with braking like for a long time because again, it's like it's new platform stuff where like you can't just like go online for like an AMG GTS and say, okay, like what pads are you guys running? Because they're gonna give you street compounds. And if they do give you a track compound, it's gonna just be like any given like off the shelf track compound that their buddy told them to run. And they're not
Yeah.
really gonna be like up to par with what I need them to be at least. So like that was a game changer. And it's always a game changer when you can actually just find like a brake pad that just gives you that feeling of knowing that you can actually just brake as hard as you can. Because I'm also like big on like if your car has a proper ABS system or at least like a decent ABS system, like use it or at least like get into your brakes
Oh
harder
yeah.
because like there's a lot of guys that like they're really not braking as hard as they should be.
Yeah. I mean,
And I was even in that
Sure.
boat for a bit.
don't drive any 90s car into ABS because that don't work.
Oh no, yeah.
Um, but the newer stuff is. I will say this again. I'm throwing out some of my own opinions, but like I can't stand the ABS system on my Mustang because it has this
Ooh,
like
really?
ice mode it goes into. So if like you
Yeah.
go up on a curb and you have like one set of tires on the curb and the other set on the road, it'll think that it's on ice because one side's slipping, and
Mm-hmm.
it will lock out that brake pedal as and be as hard as a rock, and you cannot stop. It is one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever experienced, and I've only had it happen at Button Willow because of the curbs there and stuff like that. But
Oh
that
yeah, those are pretty violent. I haven't driven there, but I've seen the videos and
you
it looked
gotta
crazy.
come, dude. You gotta
Yeah.
come. Just saying. Time
Yeah, we'll
attack
make it
more.
happen
It awaits.
someday. I mean, it's funny you say that because I was gonna be going there this year, but then they canceled the one lap of America West Coast. I was like all
Oh
set
no.
up to do that without the tires, and then the whole event got canceled because I guess they couldn't get enough entries.
Ah,
that
brutal.
sucks.
Yeah.
Typical West Coast, man. Typical.
These
Try
guys
playing stuff
lately,
and no one, I
all
tell you what.
talk, no action on the West Coast. That's
That's right.
a call out,
That's right.
guys. If you can't
That's
tell,
right.
that's a call out.
Yeah. All right. So Kyle, you are you still running EBC
Yeah.
currently? Okay.
Yeah, actually, like I said, I got that brake pad compound, and like I haven't even changed DBC compounds. Like I'm
Okay.
just stuck, but like there's like once you find like that like sweet spot, like I don't want to mess it up. I just want to like
Sure.
just have it. Like
So you're
I found one felt good on that car and kept it.
so still running stock brake system, stock calipers, stock rotors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
and there's a lot of guys that will like, is it like on the AMG platform, for instance, like a lot of people complain about the braking performance on those, and it's not for like a lack of like braking power, but they get hot really quick.
Sure.
So like if you look at like any like forum posts about them, like any like the few guys that are tracking them, it is mostly like the higher like AMG GTRs or GTR Pro or even GT Black. GT Blacks are kind of like a little better with that because they're like really designed for the track. But like most of those guys are running into brake heat issues. So like they'll have to get like different brake ducts and things just shutting air like directly onto the calipers. For us, we never really had that issue because we just came out of the box with a properly ducted front splitter. And it was shoving enough air like in the right areas so where like our brake heat wasn't really a problem. And I never really kind of felt any signs of like pedals getting longer or like pads getting mushy or anything. So just wasn't really a problem that we ran into.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so interesting to me, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's just my perspective, but I feel like that EBC's kind of come on strong in the last few years, coming into like to the motorsports area, because I feel like they were always sort of like they had like track pads or street track pads, but they were never really like real like pads, and so I always just saw like I saw EBC, but I never really thought much of them
Oh yeah,
until
I mean,
recently.
they like
Yeah, I mean, it seems like
I couldn't believe what I was running. I'll just say that.
sure, yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Dewey recently upgraded his like whole brake system, to the upgraded calipers and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, those look legit. Like these guys are really kind of doing something.
Yeah, like
They were
the guys that are there right now, like they are passionate and they are very serious about just making like just the all out best track brakes. And it's really cool to see like how involved they are. Like they actually like they want to see the results. That's their big
nice.
thing. Like they don't just care about like having something feel good. They want to make sure that okay, like we're gonna put these pads on this car, like this thing better work. Like it better be fast. And I really appreciate companies like actually like having their hand in time attack and wanting to see something happen because of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Gosh,
Mhm.
yeah.
So what'd you
Alright.
do after brakes?
Okay, so after brakes, we did suspension. And I'm big on like this order actually. Like
Yeah.
anybody that like asks me advice of like, okay, what should I do to my car? It's like, okay, like not aero. Aero happened because like we just wanted to do aero, but like it always goes like brakes, tires, suspension, and like in that order, at least for me. But we threw on KW competition to AEXR suspension. This was the only thing where like it's not really like an off the shelf thing that you can get for this car. And the whole build philosophy of this car to begin with was I wanted to do like a true street mod build, something where like it was fully within the spirit of the street mod rules. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scope creep in that class, and there's like people that are like really pushing the envelope of like what an actual street car is, which is fine. It's in the rules. Like if they want to build their car like that, that's fine. That's not how I want to do it. So we wanted to make this thing something where like if someone were to ask me with a Mercedes, and it's actually happened a few times now, which is I'm really proud to say that, where people will come out and say, "Can I build this car?" And I'll say yes, and I'll give them my entire build sheet. So the next thing we did was the session with that. And KW wanted me to run their full on like competition suspension. It's straight from the GT4 car, which that like by far that's my favorite mod on the car. That was the thing that was just like, wow, this is a massive difference from like where this thing sat before. Yeah, like, and it took us a bit to really dial them in for sure because like they set like these baseline settings and they're not really. It's a guess at that point. Like I kind of told them like relative to our downforce levels will be and the kind of tires are running, but then you have to really set them up to work like with how you drive and also how you want them to feel.
Did they sort of have to modify those a little bit to fit not only the class rules but also your car itself not being like a full GT4 car?
Yeah. So we changed the spring rates and the valving a little bit. I don't know like exactly what they did, but they essentially asked, okay, what are you going to be running, and how are you going to be running this car? What's the weight? What's
Sure.
like the rough downforce level, like in pounds that this car is going to have, and then what's the tire size and tire compound?
Yeah.
And then they gave like a very educated guess about like what kind of suspension to run. As far as the class rules go, though, it's kind of funny though that suspension is already two-way adjustable.
Okay.
So
Nice.
there wasn't really anything to modify with that. We just kind of had a plug and play situation with that. But yeah, like it's something that's like very close to what like the factory Mercedes run. Um,
That's
so
cool.
like I was really proud to be able to get that. And then again, that was just a massive difference on how that car felt on track.
It looks
Have you?
super well damped. Like everything,
Mm.
seeing your car now on track, it definitely seems to handle very, very well. I Here's a good question for you. Um, Softer or more stiff? Like, how do you like your car set?
So before we definitely went with a softer setup. But it wasn't as fast as I'd like it to be. So and it didn't really work with how this car acts as far as how the weight is and everything. So like as a driver, I like to be able to attack curbs and just really like use the entire track. But we kind of found that like because of this car's weight, it really needed a stiffer setup along with the car's downforce. We also like had some incremental downforce increases as we started to just dial things in a little more. So we had to up the spring rates a bit. We had to step it up, like all the dampening, just get everything like where it needed to be. So now like compared to 2 years ago, the car is like in a much stiffer setup. So I can't really like Lime Rock, for instance. I mean, you shouldn't touch the curbs anyway there. But like a couple of years ago, like I could actually attack every single curb there, and the car just didn't get upset whatsoever. Like and one of the guys at FCP Euro that runs their GT4 team at the time, like he couldn't believe like how the car was just like running over every single curb there and was just like not getting out of sorts, wasn't kicking the back out or anything. It just kind of just ate it up. And like that worked to the point where I could get some like pretty good lap times with it, but not where I wanted it to be. So we really had to kind of rethink some things after that.
Okay. Who does? Do you guys do all your own suspension in house? Do all your own
Yeah.
setup?
Yeah. hmm Yeah,
Nice.
we do all that. And it's more so just kind of like making notes, trying new out setups and like seeing what works and what doesn't and just going from there. Like we're not really like suspension engineers, but we just kind of go off of the feel and like what I say. It's like, okay, it's doing this. Okay, well, let's change this and let's go back out and then see if it
That's
fix
cool.
this. And then that's how we make our adjustments.
How much?
And
How much are you making adjustments in between sessions? Like, are you doing a lot of dampen changing, or are you uh like sway bar adjustment? Like, is there like a lot that you're doing, or is it minor?
So in years past, it was a lot. And that was more so because we were just trying to perfect a setup on a car that there was no cheat codes for. Like you couldn't just look anything up on it. So yeah, like I would come in from some sessions and I would like legit say the car's trying to kill me because it was. Like there's moments where like Road America last year, like on the uphill left hander, I forgot the core number coming out of Canada corner. Um, if I would like touch the curb there, the car would like actively try to snap out from underneath me, like in a high speed corner. And it did
wow.
that once. And like I almost swapped ends, like going off track. Like luckily I had to do a lot of drifting on the sim also, so I just kind of let go of the wheel and then caught it, but there was still enough to like send the car on the grass, and I did like just a nice little grass excursion. But it could have been a lot worse there. That was one of those situations where the car was just very snappy, just not really like not confidence inspiring under high speed corners. But now we'll just do like a couple adjustments throughout a weekend, like if it needs it. But now we kind of have like a better idea of like a good base to start out with, like for each track we go to. And then like if it really needs it, adjust it. But other than that, like I don't like making like massive swings and adjustment throughout a weekend because I also think that like that can kind of hinder you. Because then you have to go out and not relearn a car, but you're almost guessing as far as like, hey, is this gonna work? And if it doesn't work, then you're already on a back foot.
Well, I think you already hit the nail on the head, right? Like you're doing what a lot, and this is the scary part. You're doing what a lot of people don't do is what you already said is you are going to the track, you're annotating your setup, you're writing all this down. So when you go back to the same track, you're going back to that setup that you were like, this is where it felt good starting point. So now
Mm-hmm.
every lap that you do, you're just honing that in even better. And that's something it's scary because so many people don't do that. So many people don't take that time and energy to get that right. So, we kind of like to emphasize those things to our listeners because as people getting started in time attack, that's going to be the difference. That's going to be a huge difference between someone, immediately out the gate being better than others. So we want to emphasize that as much as possible. So thanks, man. A big appreciation there for you making sure we tell the listeners to do what's right.
Oh, of course. I mean, like it's always important to to make notes like throughout the entire weekend of like what works and what doesn't. But then also it's like I'm a big believer in like having the proper preparation for each event. Like it goes back to the sim racing stuff. Like I will do hundreds and hundreds of laps on any given track that we go to on the sim before we actually go. Because if you're going there and you're learning the track in your first session, you're already going to have a disadvantage, like a massive disadvantage to the guys that aren't doing that. I mean, like this past weekend, like the first session was our best session. That was when like I set my best lap, and after that, the track just kind of just got worse. So that'll happen a lot of weekends. So if you're not
Yep.
doing that, then you're already kind of like on the back foot of what you could be doing.
Yeah,
Sure.
possibilities a lot
So
less
I
if you're
got
not ready.
I got two questions for you, which is one, you've mentioned we a couple times, and I know I see you and your mom and your dad at the track usually. Is it usually you three running the crew, or do you have other people there kind of helping you guys out to make these changes, log everything, things like that?
So like a lot of the times it's just us and my girlfriend. We'll just kind of go out and just like make these logs, and like it's everybody trying to help. Um, but then like we also have like a lot of the companies that support us, like Stable and 303 Car Care, like they'll send a lot of their guys out. Like our friend Bob, who's with that company, like he's helped us a lot with just day to day track stuff. Like whether it's like making notes or setting stuff up or just being a guy there to help. And then it's just my friends or anybody that's at the track. So like we'll rely a lot like on the knowledge of like our sponsors also, like whether it's like KW or like I'll contact them and say, okay, the car's doing this. What's your advice? And usually they'll have like a decent starting point to say, okay, let's try this first. So like when I say we, like I literally mean like I use anybody and everybody that is helping out with us with this car and all the resources I could possibly use in order to go as fast as possible.
I
Because
really
I'm all
want to
about like getting as much knowledge as possible.
I really want to touch on what you just said. This is something that people do not do enough of. I get a sponsor. They are part of my program, right? They are not just there to send you free parts. They are not just
Mhm.
there to send you discounted parts. The intellectual properties that those people hold and the information that they can provide you can far exceed anything that they could send you for free. And I cannot stress this enough. Being able to reach out, and I say this really as a stretch of like being able to reach out on a Saturday or Sunday from a race event, and if they're there with you, or if they're able to be reached by phone to say, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm doing. How can I make this better? and them respond and say, hey, try this. People really undervalue that level of relationship, and that's something that we need to continue to push. I can't say it with enough emphasis, just because it really can make the difference, right? Like, we are all not the smartest human beings on the planet. I know I'm dumb as hell. So I know that I need to I need advice. Like, when I was at the track, I relied so heavily on my suspension setup guy, which was Ken Kazitz. So I relied heavily. I would come in and I would talk to him and say, this is what I'm feeling. This was this. And he'd say, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to, take out some camber. I'm going to put in some toe. I'm going to, blah, blah, blah. He would make those decisions. And I'd say, cool, let's do it. Right. Same thing for the engine calibration for me. Like Paul, I'd say, this is what I'd felt. And most of the time, I didn't even tell him anything. He had no sensors on the car. He'd go, oh yeah, you're an idiot. This is what happened. He's telling me why I'm an idiot.
That's usually how tuners talk also.
Yeah. They are, if I mean, as anybody who's talked to enough tuners, they are the smartest people on the planet. Sorry, tuners. But yeah, you guys are the smartest. We already know.
Of course, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that too, because I was gonna get into this like more so when we're talking about like the car's power, but like it took us the longest time to actually like figure out like a proper tune on this thing because no one was really like having a track tune on these. And the guys that were like attempting to do that, they really weren't that invested into it. Like they were just saying, okay, well here's our street tune, or like here's something that's like kind of off the shelf. Sorry, I'm just plugging in my phone real quick. But they were kind of very invested and not very invested into actually doing it. So our newest sponsor, Ben's House, they came in and actually wanted to be a part of Time Attack.
Awesome.
And I don't even like using the word sponsor. I like using the word partner because I think partner actually is kind of like more akin to what you need to see these relationships as, like when you're like working with different companies in Time Attack. They wanted to come in and actually be a part of the Time Attack program, and they wanted to make sure that this car was running properly, running as fast as it possibly could, and being helpful throughout a weekend. So like if the car was having any sort of weird issues, like they're ready to go and say, okay, well, like you can change this or try this or reflash this. And they were ready to help. And that was something that like we found so valuable to just have with us the entire time. Like so they're like a huge part of our team now at this point.
That's super cool.
Tuning in general, I mean, if you want to be used and abused, a tuner is definitely 100% in the Time Attack echelon, because we all want all the power all the time, as much power as possible. And by the way, don't let our engine blow up. So there's a lot of pressure there. But it is one of those things, like you need those guys, and those guys are amazing. Like the amount of data that they're going to get and learn and get to be a part of, and the amount, like, there's just something different about road racing in general, right? Like guys doing a pull on a freeway, it's the amount of data there is so minor, right? Even a drag strip, obviously it's a different ball game. So the guys that I've seen this, I 100% seen this, where guys are like, well, this guy, he makes like 1,100 horsepower on these drag cars. He's gonna come out and do Time Attack, and I was like, cool. He's not gonna make 1,100 horsepower. Oh
nope,
yeah,
not gonna happen.
yeah, he is. And it's like, no, you're not. The car will overheat. The car will explode. Bad things will happen. It's not gonna work. So, and for tuners, that's like like, I know. I'm not going to take any credit away from like the tuner that I know, Paul, and like his experiences and stuff like that. But like Tony Zerka, all those guys, I guarantee you talk to any of these guys and they're going to tell you what they've learned in Time Attack through road racing, through driving these cars to these extremes, is invaluable information for them. Like it has made them exponentially better at tuning cars and being able to spot those little variances that make the biggest difference in keeping a car alive, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, all the things. That's what, like you said, partnership. They're getting
Exactly.
information.
Because you have to actually go ahead.
You're giving information. They're getting information. You're tuning and working together. You're telling them, because I'm going to say I worked with a tuner that did a GTR, and he did drag racing. And so he had no concept of what it meant to need throttle control. He was like 0 and 100. That's what he understood. And so when we were working on like the tip in and trying to get methodical, like I need to be able to not just stab at the throttle. And it was like talking a Greek language to the man. And so we had to really like slow it down and tell him like, no, dude, I need to be able to modulate. I need to be able to do, 30, 40, 50 and back and forth and have this actually be usable. We were at Auto Club and it was treacherous. Like you touched the throttle and it was like I went wide open throttle. And so the car was just sliding everywhere and doing terrible things. But we got it sorted because through communication, and guess what? He learned a lot from that. So again, partnership.
Oh yeah, it's so important. Like that's why I love working with Ben's house. Like I talked to Matt, and he's the guy that he does all their tuning. And like once we started working together, he would just ask me, okay, how do you want the car to drive? And he had me break down like each aspect of like what it takes to drive in time attack and what we need out of a tune. And that was like the first things we did was just make notes of like a rough baseline of what to put on the car. And neither of us wanted to go for like just the all out like top horsepower. That's not the goal that we wanted to do. We wanted to make something that worked, that had good power, but still like was drivable. And like before with like previous tunes we've had on the car, we'd have like different lit mode issues or just things not really working all that good that I'd have to kind of drive around in order to make a lap. So like a lot of previous years with that car, I've had to drive around certain issues. And like I got really good at driving around them, but this is the first season where I've actually been able to just push it as hard as I possibly can and know that things are going to work. I don't have to worry about driving around issues.
Yeah, that's again, it goes back to the braking, right? Like you need the confidence in the car for the braking, you need the confidence in the acceleration as well. Like you need to have confidence in the car as a whole. So we didn't answer one question yet. So how much power is this car? How much did it make when you first started? How much is it making now?
Okay, so I'm always very transparent with this kind of stuff. So I think stock these things make like 430 wheel or yeah, I think 430 wheel roughly. To start out, we just did like a base like off the shelf tune. Never dynoed it. I don't know what it was at, but maybe like 500 something, probably low fives. And now it makes 769 wheel.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
solid power.
it's a good number to be at. For the past 3 years, it's been like in the mid 500s.
So you're
Is that
making
still on stock turbos or aftermarket turbos?
So it's aftermarket around Pro 900s. And
Okay.
they've been working amazing for us. They like it doesn't really have a lot of lag. So like they're close enough to stock to where like you can do like a decent turbo upgrade with them, but you're not like feeling like you're driving a big turbo car because I didn't want anything like that.
And it's a twin turbo V8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the 4 liter. It's like a hot V.
Nice.
It's nice to have, like you said, a freaking setup where the car is, you don't feel that like big lag aspect. It feels like it's linear. When you hit the throttle, it just goes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was super important for me. And that's why I like this platform too, because like it's got like that small V8 to where like it when you drive in the car, it feels like it's naturally aspirated. And like you can feel like a marginal lag with the turbos, but like unless you're looking for it, you're not really gonna notice it. So that's one of the things I was really impressed by this platform with. And then we're still on stock internals. It's a very good engine as far as being able to like push good power without having to just like tear everything apart and start doing a build. Because like once you start doing that, like you really have to make sure you're making it reliable because that's how you start getting into like having like just weird engine issues if you really don't have a good builder or you don't know what you're doing fully. Now in this car, like no one's really done anything like that, so we got kind of lucky that we didn't have to do that because we probably would have some weird issues. That's how the Audi went. We had to build that engine, and that car had the weird issues because again, no one's really done that.
Yeah.
So
And nobody is, especially when you're at modern cars like ours, we don't have the luxury of Dewey just being able to pull the engine out, refresh it before Road America, right? Like, oh yeah, let's just drop the engine real quick. Like, I never want to have to pull the engine out of that car. And I'm
Yeah,
right, and I know
I'm
you're
in the
right.
same
Like,
boat. Yeah.
yeah, like no, never. So yeah,
It blows my
absolutely.
mind, like when guys are like Dewey, or I'll throw like Super K in there too, with like
Yeah,
ASM, like Alex Moss and everybody. Or they're on like engine number 14, and it's like I've on the same engine. It's got like 40,000 miles on it. Hopefully I
yep,
never have to take it out.
yep. I feel
Someone
that.
asked
I
me
feel
about it
that.
too. It was like
Well,
one of the spectators at Lime Rock. They're like, so like how often do you rebuild it? And I was like, not yet.
yeah, that's wild. That is
Yeah.
wild.
Here at the Perfect Lab Podcast, we're happy to introduce Whoosh Bespoke Wheels as a sponsor of the show. Whoosh Bespoke was born out of necessity. Their race team struggled to find wheels that offer the perfect fit, strength, durability, and that big old thing, a reasonable price. The people behind Whoosh Bespoke are racers and engineers seeking engineering excellence, and they offer precision forged wheels crafted by racers for racers, with a product lineup that includes a wide range of options from monoblock to modular wheels, including 2- and 3-piece wheel designs, all engineered from the finest materials, although they do primarily use 6061 T6 forged aluminum, but they do offer things as high of quality as a magnesium alloy. So this really can work for any setup you're trying to go for. Customization is at the heart of what they do at Whoosh Bespoke. You can tailor your wheels with custom sizes, offsets, finishes, and even options like custom lettering, adding two-tones. Their colors include both standard and premium finishes, as well as special finishes like brushed, hand polished, and even paint to sample. Every set of wheels produced exceeds the JWL standards and meets the rigorous WCEC quality standards, and they are tested by real people with real cars racing all around the world. And guess what? Me and Kilgore, we're also going to be part of that team. So we're going to be putting these things to the test. We're putting them on our cars. Kilgore's going to be repping out and going through all the time attack season. I'm going to be beating them up at HPDE days and just having a good time with them. So I want you to go take a look at them and make sure you give them a follow on all their socials. It's whooshautomotive.com, Whoosh Automotive on all the socials. Go check them out.
So what I guess summarize for us over the last like 2 years, kind of where you're at now with the car and what you've done, which leads us into, as we're going to try and move this podcast along, getting into Lime Rock Park, right? So
Mhm.
what have you done over the last 2 years, and then, what were you set up for at Lime Rock?
So like for this year, kind of the last couple of years, like we've wanted to focus on like making the car like turn better. That was one of the biggest things without having to like go full race car with it in a street pod class. I'm totally against that. So these things are very camber limited from the factory. Like we only get like about 2.8 degrees in the front, and that
What?
was it. Yeah, yeah. I've been running on like negative 2.8 like for the past like 3 or 4 years on that car. Like it's been awful.
Wow.
Yeah. This was the first season, thanks to BBT, where you could actually get real camber with it, because they like for the first and only company right now that makes like control arms for it and adjustable shims, or like more adjustable shims than what the factory has.
What
Uh,
is the front suspension setup?
it's
Is
a
it like
double
an
wishbone.
AR double wishbone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, like now we went from like 2.8 to like 3.5. And for line wrap, we're actually an asymmetrical setup. We tried that
Sure.
on Saturday, and it helped. I didn't have that in my best lap, but like I could tell it was helping, but the track just kind of wasn't really there to really go much faster with that. But it made it a little more drivable for that track. But
Hmm.
yeah, we were about 3.5 for Lime Rock, and then 4.5 on the other side.
Okay.
Well, it's glad to hear you actually got some camber. Sorry, that kind of blew my mind a little bit. I just made the assumption that kind of came into the adjustability factor of when you got the KW suspension, that you were able to really get to hone your suspension into where you needed to be. So to say that, I don't know, kind of blown away. Kind of blown away.
No, I mean, like that's fair though, because like anybody that I tell, especially like when I was running that kind of camber, where they're asking like, so like like, what's your front setup like? And again, like, I'll tell anybody my setup. I don't care. Like, they can do the same thing. That's fine. But like, I'll tell them my camber, and they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, like it's 2.8. Like that's it. I gotta work with it.
That's wild. That's wild. So, any aero upgrades over the last couple of years, or still pretty much running the same wing splitter?
Yeah, like I mean, roughly the same package. We've just done like different tweaks. So like we've been trying different diffuser setups. So like what we have is like it's like the honeycomb APR front splitter, and we'll cut our own ducting into it. So we'll have like the dual plane like cross and the ones that are like the little like kind of thin in the middle and stuff. And then we also upgraded the diffusers on the sides. So we have like 2 extra ones that were going like more so like into the fender wells that were venting out like into the fender cuts we have. And that made a pretty big difference. And then we have like a couple like side skirts. They're running, you have to call them side skirts because of street mod. But it's like kind of they go like this. Comes in the front and then kicks out like that. That made a huge difference. We actually we got some advice from Andrew Brilliant. He came out a few years ago to kind of just like look over everything and see what we could do.
That's cool.
And that was one of the biggest things that he let us know was to add some underbody stuff. So we said, okay, did it. And it's just
Nice.
Home Depot like lawn edging, and that's it.
Hey, that's all it takes.
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't gotta spend a ton on aero. You can find some very cheap things from hardware stores that will make a lot bigger difference than what you'd think if there's anybody watching that wants to start dabbling in aero.
Heck yeah, man. So let's like Kilgore said, let's jump right in. Let's take a little chat at good old GridLife circuit legend. So you guys, start me out. Paint the scene for the viewers. What are we talking about? What was the weather like? Was it looked great, but Cal, I'll start with you. What was your interpretation of the weather?
Better than Road America. It wasn't too bad. Like temperature wise, like probably 80s. But the issue was that at least on Friday there was just a ton of sun. And with any given grid life event, you're always gonna have a lot of drifters, which for me personally, I love drifting, so I don't really complain about it. But on a more traditional time attack weekend, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because at least for me, I like to go out and just go in the first session and go 11 tenths if I know the track. Because at the traditional time attack grid life weekend, at least, that's always going to be the best session unless it's raining. So that's what I did. And like throughout the rest of the weekend, like just there wasn't really a whole lot of track left, at least like for my car. Cause like on the skinny tires and the fat car, like it kind of gets affected for me at least a little more than like some other cars when the track starts to degrade over a weekend. So it got to the point where like I just had no hope of going faster. And I also only brought like 2 sets of tires and they both were already used. So didn't have stickers, didn't have anything. Because again, this was kind of like this weekend was a throwaway weekend for me and going into it because the cars never worked properly here as far as like going fast. It's just not really a good track for my car because it's just constant turning and it's the tiny track. But it ended up working out pretty good.
What
At
tires
least
do you
better
run
than we
again?
thought. RT 660 plus.
The 660
Falcons.
plus. Gotcha.
Uh-huh.
All right, Kilgore, what do you think? The weather for you, for the BMW, for boost weather, how is it looking for you?
I will agree with what Kyle said. It was actually kind of interesting. So I actually showed up Thursday. So it was a Friday Saturday event. It wasn't the usual 3-day event. It was a 2-day event, traditional time attack. 3 sessions Friday, 3 sessions Saturday. So just whatever your fastest lap was of any of those 6 sessions. I had never been there before. I had been doing some sim time, but then I went to a short little brief practice session on Thursday afternoon. And it was kind of indicative of Friday. Like it was warm, mid 80s, but like no cloud cover. And the track temperature was just it was like 120 degree plus track temperature. And so I had a new set of Vitor P1s that I wanted to scrub in for the first session at the practice. And so again, if scrubbing these in kind of per Vitors, and it follows pretty traditional kind of scrub in. I went out and just sort of did like a again, first time on the track, did like a 6/10, 7/10, then sort of like a 8/10 lap, and then sort of a push lap, right? Like kind of getting up to speed and getting some temps in the tires. I did like maybe 5 or 6 laps. I came off and like got out of the car, felt the tires, and they were like scorching to the touch. They were so hot, and I was surprised. So that sort of gave me an indication of probably what we were going to be dealing with throughout the weekend, especially in terms of late afternoon sessions were going to be just crap. And so that's what we saw. That's what we saw Friday. No clouds, all sun, all day. It was pretty warm, and yeah, the first session there was really good. I was picking up time, but that was more from a personal improvement versus having a good track.
Well, yeah,
Saturday was
first time
sort of
on,
interesting.
so.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Saturday was sort of interesting because it stayed cloudy most of the day, so I think that it provided a chance for people to find improvement as compared to Friday, just because I think the track stayed in a better condition than most people expected. So
Yeah.
like the Saturday, like the second session on Saturday was actually pretty good for most people, depending on if you kept your car on track and didn't hit any barriers. But you know, um, so anyway, yeah. So the track is fantastic. It's actually I was a little surprised, which I think it's such a dichotomy coming from Road America, the largest track, super smooth, then going to the smallest track, that it actually was a little more bumpy than I expected. Like going down the front straight, like you kind of bump, like you're just kind of going around, you're just kind of going down, like, and it's sort of hopping a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So that was a little surprising to me, just how much, if you want to call it quote character, it has. There's definitely a lot of character to it. There's just some interesting little nuances to it. A lot of little cambered areas that you just don't see. It just doesn't come across on the stream, on the live stream. When I went actually walked the track, it was really interesting seeing where this third of the turn is cambered, then it sort of plateaus out, and then on the exit it sort of falls away from you, and you don't really see a lot of that stuff, and so you kind of have to look at that and be aware of it, because or else it's a pretty high average mile an hour track.
Mhm.
And
I think they actually said in
if
the live stream the average mile per hour is the same as Road America. It's like very similar, which I was like, really?
really,
That's really surprising, and like I kind of see it, but it's a weird track because I think this also is kind of why the tire temps spike here so much, because you're turning so much.
oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's only like really one spot on the track where you're not turning. Everywhere
yeah,
else, like
absolutely,
always putting load into your tires.
yeah.
I mean, there's
Well, I
one
mean,
spot
if
on
you
the
think,
track that you're not putting load in the tires. At least it looks like on
Yeah.
the footage. Well, because it seems like people are just going airborne all the time.
that's fair, but
They did mention as well in the broadcast, Kyle mentioned that the track actually had a plan to go like extend the track and do some other stuff way back in the day, but never kind of came to fruition. Kind of an interesting story there. Again, talking about it is a very short track. I mean, we are talking about lap times that are sub 1 minute,
it's wild.
which is crazy to me because I don't know, something about a sub 1 minute lap kind of goes into that weird realm of, man, is this track even worth it? Lime Rock, it looks really cool. They talk about how it's kind of built on this like mountainside and it's very majestic and all these other cool factors. So kind of interesting, the track as a whole. I know from just watching it, it was really cool. One of the things I like about it is it seems like you could see a lot of the track capture on the cameras, so you kind of got to watch people's like full laps. That's always obviously one of the very biggest things about Time Attack is I don't just want to watch you do 2 corners. I want to follow you from start to finish and see your entire lap, which was awesome because we got to watch Kilgore do an entire lap and more. A lot of good broadcasts of Kilgore, so big step up for GridLife, getting some Kilgore action in there. And I mean, Cal, I actually don't recall seeing your car a lot on the Sunday or the Sunday Saturday broadcast. Every so often, I was kind of curious. Like you said, you went out there and kind of set your lap really early on. So kind of put you in a good spot because you already set your best lap time. You said you did your best lap time the first session out, right?
Oh yeah, first session of the weekend, and that's something that I do a lot actually. Like in these like traditional time attack weekends, where like if it's got just like good conditions for the first session, I'll just go out and push as hard as I can right away if I feel comfortable, and then after that, like I just no matter how hard I try, sometimes I just never find myself beating that time throughout a weekend. Either whether it's like deteriorating track conditions or just myself just not being able to do it, but like, usually if it's a weekend like that, I'll just go out and set a proper lap and then just kind of have fun the rest of the weekend.
So Kilgore, for you, obviously a little bit different of a story. You learning the track, building up, kind of doing the build up aspect of it. We were kind of seeing you, go faster and faster throughout the weekend. Camera was on you. You were getting faster. You were putting in good laps. I think I could be wrong. You can tell us. I want to say in that session, in your final session, I remember seeing a 50. Did I see a 57? Is that what I'm remembering correctly?
Yeah, 57.7. I actually said at one point a 57.5 in the session earlier, but
Your transponder didn't work.
the transponder did not work.
Quick question for you, and because I was super curious about this.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle mentioned this like 15 times in the live broadcast. Hey, we're not getting any we're not getting any times for Kilgore. We're not getting. I'm just curious. Did they not black flag you for not having? Oh, man,
No.
they
Which usually I feel like they will do. They will
Yeah.
kind of black flag it and be like, we're not getting any hits for car 909.
Yep.
Black flag him and bring him in. And at least like they could have let me know.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we're not getting any hits for you. So it was annoying and it was extremely frustrating in the moment because I had set my fast lap. I had picked up about 4/10. So I'd done in the first session on Friday, I did like a 58.1. And then in the second session of Friday, I picked up a couple tenths and did a 57.9. The third session, I did not improve any. It was just too hot. The conditions just weren't going to have it. Then Saturday morning, I picked up another 4/10 down to a 57.5, but didn't have an official time. And then in the second session on Sunday, went back out and did a 57.7. And that was literally the last lap that I did was my 57.7.
Yeah. I recall. So all right, we're gonna have to break it down. So what happened after this 57 lap? Do tell.
Well, I had a little bit of a run in with one of the Armco barriers, obviously. And as I've looked back on it, there were two main things that I did that led to that, which I normally don't do, and I think that these were probably two influences for causing me to go off track and then hit the Armco. Which is one, I had been out there. One of the things I really did I liked about Lime Rock was that it had unique challenges. One, there's no way to get enough heat into your tires by the time you start your first lap. Like, for me, like, just if somebody says, "Oh yeah, I can get enough heat into my tires," I'm like, "Okay, well maybe you were starting your tire pressures higher than normal or something." I don't know, but like, it's very challenging. You've got 7 corners. It's hard to get heat into the tires and heat into the brakes. So that's sort of a unique challenge. You kind of have to adjust for that, which is interesting. The other interesting thing that I found, and I was sort of worried about it, but like, normally if you go to a normal track that's, 2 miles or 2+ miles, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to get like 2 laps, but that really only means that I have to risk 2 laps worth of, taking chances, as we like to say, right? Here, it could be like your 4th, 5th lap, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to send it up you have to send it through the uphill like 4 or 5 times. And so that's definitely something that was a little bit of a challenge for me, especially being there, is consistently taking those chances and taking those risks. With that being said, that leads into one of the decisions that I made, which was on my fast lap, I did a 57.7. Going into the uphill, I was on track for a 57.4, which would have been my fastest lap. And then I lost a couple tenths in the uphill, and then I had a little bit of a slide in turn 6, West Bend on entry, that lost me a couple more tenths. So I ended up losing like 4 tenths. And so I came down the hill, I came across start finish, and I had set, so a 57.7. So that was my PB for the weekend. And that was on lap like 3 or 4. Normally what I would do if I had just put in that fast of a time, PB, done 3 or 4 laps, I would have cooled the car down. I'd be like, okay, that was a fast lap. Let me take a moment. Let me cool the car down. Let me cool down. And then I'll see if I can maybe do another one. But I had been a little frustrated all weekend that I wasn't closer to Ryan Matthews and Nick Hendricks in front of me. They were at a 56.7 and a 56.9 respectively. And so I'd been a little frustrated because I thought I'd be able to compete with them a little bit more this weekend. And so through that frustration and through losing out those 4 tenths, I was like, I'm going to go one more lap, right? And isn't that always what happens when somebody crashes? Is they're going to be like, all right,
It's always the one more lap.
I'm going to do one more lap, right? And so normally I just don't do that. And so that was sort of decision number 1 that was going to cost me. And then decision number 2 was I was pushing wide out of turn 2. I was like, okay, I'm going to, I was expecting me to be on the rumble strips. And I was like, oh gosh, I might dip a wheel, but I'm going to stay in it because I think that I can, I think I'll be fine. I wasn't staying full throttle, but like I didn't get off as much as I normally do. Cause normally if I'm going to go off, I get off the pedal. I just let the car ride out and then get back on, right? Like do the safe thing. Don't try and be a hero. I tried to be a hero, ran out of talent, and the back end, so the back end fell off and hit the dirt, and there's a little bit of rut there, especially you had all the drifters, right? They're sliding and they're kind of creating ruts.
Oh yeah, if you watch the drift sessions, like they were constantly just like digging into the dirt there.
That's kind of what they do. They dig them holes deep.
Yeah, and so as soon as that back end fell off and I stayed on the gas, like it kicked out, and so I actually went like full lock to keep it from going all the way around. So then what happened is that when I actually got back on the track and I'm at like, full lock, it snapped back the other way and it slid me across the track. And just as I'm going off, I kind of get it straightened back up. But again, so like we kind of went back and watched and there were obviously a couple things that I could have done that I shouldn't have. But with that being said, I had a couple people tell me like, with what I did to save the car, I saved so much damage. Like it could have been much, much worse because I was able to get the car straightened up going off the track. And then what I didn't really notice in the time, I did notice it once I was in the tow truck and they were coming back out over off the track where the grass starts. It basically is just a hill and it just slopes down to the Armco, like to the barrier. And so basically once I got over that hill, like it was just funneling the car towards the barrier.
Like you're not going to recover that at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I at least had enough momentum and kind of stayed in the gas because I was immediately seeing the tire barrier and I was like, I think I can get past the tire barrier. I was able to do that, but then there was the Armco and I actually hit the Armco and bounced off. And I thought I was so frustrated. I was so mad. I thought that whole side was just going to be toast. And so,
well, like I said, that's what it looked like on the live stream.
Oh,
it looked like that, just the whole side of the car wiped out.
Yeah, and I actually where I hit the Armco was just behind where we were paddocked, so that was where all the turn-in guys were. So they heard this huge thud, and they were like, damn, somebody just hit hard. And then they were like, oh God, it was Mark. And so then they all kind of start coming around. I come to a stop it's sort of at turn 3. The car's still running. I like make sure it's in gear. I try and go, and I can tell like it's not going anywhere. Probably have suspension damage. Who knows what's wrong with the car? So I just kind of sit there. I have my phone. I text my wife. Sorry, I just crashed the car. She was like, I know, I'm watching the live stream.
She's like, no. Tune into the live stream, rewind a little bit. You'll watch yourself crashing.
Yes. As we're pulling off, she sends me a picture of them like towing my car, which I'm like, all right, I appreciate that. And actually, Tony Barber, who's sort of the head guy at Turn In, he calls me, and so I have my phone in my car because I run my data from the data logger into my phone. So I run an MHD app, and so it'll log all of my data. So he like calls me, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I think I got suspension damage. And he kind of walks around. He's like, yeah. He's like, I can kind of see, yeah, the front wheel looks a little out of whack. He was like, did you hit the passenger side? And I was like, yeah, like I smacked the passenger side. He was like, yeah. He was like, it doesn't really look that bad. And, and I was like, okay, whatever that means. So anyway, so the guy, the safety crew gets there, and they're like, do you think can you drive it back, or like, do you want a flatbed? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I have suspension damage. And they walked around to the front, and they're like, oh yeah, they're like, one of your wheels is broken. I was like, all right. And so, and this was kind of funny, which Cal, you may want to figure out if you're ever in this situation. They were like, well, can the car run in neutral? Because I had turned the car off, and I looked at him and I was like, I don't know how to get the car in neutral. Like it's a DCT, it's a dual clutch transmission. And so I was like, the only way I know to get it in neutral is that, like, I turn the car on and then put the gear selector in neutral. So they're like, yeah, that should be fine. So we basically just had to turn the car on, and and then just put it in neutral for them to pick it up by the front tires and run it around. So I was like, I don't know if this car can. I'm sure there's a way to put it in neutral even with the engine off. I'm sure, but I was like, I don't know how to do it.
You got to ask.
Yeah,
the
actually,
car thief.
I was almost in that situation because I had my own little Armco incident happen at Watkins Glen a few years ago. And one time GridLife went there, and
in
it
the
was
rain.
like, I got to be the guinea pig for the first like incident of mist there when it first started, because I happened to set like the fastest overall lap, which that was the first time I've ever done that. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I just got the speed really quick. And so we got to the street mod group, and I was leading everybody, and the track was dry the entire time. Like, not even like a hint of dampness. And then, so I'm just setting it in turn 1, like late brake, like taking a proper dry line. And then I go up on the exit curving, and it's like ice. And so the car just snapped. And they happen to have like one of the first times they've used like a live onboard camera. They had that in my car for that moment.
That onboard camera, man.
Full on, like more like commentator's curse.
Yep.
So the car snapped, and then like I recovered it enough to like not really damage it a whole lot, but just like push the splitter up and scrape the front end. But then I missed that session, Podium start weekend. So after that, it rained every single session after it. So everybody that set their times in that session advanced, and then I got to just sit the rest of the weekend out and watch because it was raining the whole time and I couldn't improve. So that wasn't fun.
Yeah, I feel you. So anyway, yeah, we got really lucky. The wheels took all of the damage. They took all of the hit. And so again, like, you can run 19 by 11s with the suspension setup that I have, or you can run 11-inch wide wheels. At the beginning of the season, I said, I'm going to push everything that I can, because if sometimes we're sitting at a tenth, 2 tenths or less, between positions. And so I said, if I can get an extra ½ inch, I'm going to take it. So I ordered 19 by 11 and a halves. And thank God that I did, because I'm pretty sure the wheel poke legitimately saved the side of the car. The damaged the two wheels on the passenger side, and some of the control arms. The front damper is bent a little bit, but shout out to the guys at SPL. We've already been in contact with them. They said they have stuff in stock, so they're going to be able to cut me a deal and send some of those out. And they said we will also send you a couple spares, which I, greatly appreciated. And then we're gonna pull the dampers off. We're gonna send those to MCS, and they're gonna take a look at them, see what needs to be rebuilt, see things that need to be replaced, and everything from what everybody's saying is we're going to have you ready for Laguna. So the car should be ready in about, by 3 to 4 weeks when it needs to leave to head out to Laguna. So I'm excited about that. Very little, no body damage, no body parts need to be replaced. Not even a scratch on the headlight. Like,
that's wild.
It was
so
amazing.
Impressive.
Yeah.
By the way,
I will say this.
Big shout out to Whoosh Wheels, cause
no, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes. The Whoosh Forge Wheels. Actually, well, let me say two things. One, I have never had so many people around my car until I crashed. As soon as they were pulling that thing off and I was getting out, there were already people like checking it out, being like, "Oh, damn, look at that," So, I guess any press is good press is what they say.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. This is crash for marketing purposes.
Exactly. And then the second one being that Tony, he had gotten the wheels off. Go check out Turn In Concepts Instagram. Because the front suspension was just all jacked up, they took a table, like a folding table, they put it underneath the front of the car and basically just drove it like on the table into the shop. Like
I saw that earlier today, and
Yes.
I couldn't believe they did that.
Yes. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna start selling, car
moving
dollies,
tables.
aka moving tables. Yeah, folding tables.
Yeah.
So it seemed to work. But it was kind of funny because actually, Tony was seeing if he could get the wheels off, or the tires off the broken wheels, because they were new tires, and so we're like, well, if we can save a set of the tires, that would be nice. So he had sent me a video where a piece of the forged wheel was like kind of broken and kind of split up. Like he was banging on that thing with like a hammer, and it was not budging. Like,
Wow.
The Whoosh wheels, like they were extremely strong. They took a huge hit. They broke, but they didn't really bend. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Same thing with the SPL control arms. They didn't really bend all that much. It was really the like the turnbuckles are what broke, or they kind of broke where they were supposed to. And it looks like there's no damage to the subframe. It doesn't look like that any shock. I mean, obviously some shock went into the entire car, but the subframe looks okay. So anyway, extremely lucky. We'll see how things go. We're gonna plan to get this thing back together for Laguna. All that being said, I still was able to manage third place, so brought home another podium for this year, which I'm disappointed in that I wasn't closer to the guys, but at the same time, there were like 5 BMWs in Street GT at Lime Rock. There was a G80 M3, a G82 M4, a G87 M2. So those are all of the new series for all the Subaru people, for all the non BMW people.
I was literally just thinking to myself, all I know is it's an M2, M3, and M4.
Yeah. So we had all of the new M2, M3, M4. So like an M2, like Jackie Dings was there, and Carlos Alvarez. So he's a listener to the podcast. Shout out to Carlos.
Heck yeah.
So M2, M3, all the new series M2, M3, M4, and then there was a guy, Steven Chang, who was right behind me in a really clean looking E92 M3. It was really nice.
Mm.
And so it is kind of nice to be like, at least to be able to say, well, out of all those cars, I was the fastest BMW for whatever that's worth. And some hardware to take home. So that worked out for me. Cal,
How'd it work out for
I hope
you?
you,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
how did it go
mean,
for you?
mine was like the same result, but like in a way more drama filled. As far as going to the podium and not knowing whether I'd be on the podium up until them actually saying I was on the podium. So
Let's,
that was
I want to take a second here because this happened at CMP, and I know at least Kyle Hire listens to this podcast. I want to say something to Ito as well. I'm very thankful that they've implemented Ito as the time trial. I don't know what you want to call him.
like I'm gonna call him like time attack enforcer or something. But I'm in the
Yeah.
same boat. Super
Yeah.
thankful for you.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that if there is something where the final results are in question, they should kind of get the people involved before they announce like who won and kind of say like, hey, here's what happened, here's what we've seen, here's the decision we've made. We want you to know before we announce it at the podium ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Because the same thing happened at CMP in Street GT. Austin Hurdle was he was in second place for going into the podium sprint. His transponder was having issues and it did not ping his first lap. I think it maybe pinged his like second or third lap.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get off track, the guy who was in third, Connor Gallagher, who's in a Nissan GTR. He looks at the results and he's in third place. Well, what ended up happening is Austin went to the race control, and said, "Hey, it looks like my first lap didn't get pinged. Here's my AIM data." And they accepted that as his official lap time. And Connor didn't know until they like announced third place Austin Hurdle. And I think it's just kind of crappy to not really know and not have there was no sort of, hey, here's what happened, here's why we're accepting this lap time, etc. And I think like the same should have been done in your case, Cal. Like if there's ever that situation, if there's any question going into the podium as to if someone's time was deleted or accepted, like there should at least be some sort of communication beforehand.
Yeah, like I agree with that, and like at least with this one, like I like in my opinion, I think it was a little bit more obvious. But even
Yeah.
then, like there is even more question too because I don't know if you guys saw, but Tomo Gorman, he hopped into Super K like in that very last session, and there was a couple guys that were thinking that he was going in as another street mod entry, which
Right.
I found that out like from Dewey after I got to the podium. See, when he was kind of confused about that. So it was either going to be like Dewey, Dewey, Tomo, and Alex Moss. Dewey, Alex Moss. No, Dewey, Jamie, and Alex Moss. Or me in third, and then Dewey and Alex Moss. And like,
Yeah.
I'm standing there so confused, like not knowing if I'm on the podium or not, like having no idea what's happening. And then they said my name. So
Wow.
like I had like, yeah, like, and on top of that, like at the end of the session, like it kind of went down to the wire as far as like who was going to get third, like even ignoring like Tom going into track line with Super K. But like I'm sitting in the pits and Jamie's setting his lap like at the end of the session because he likes to wait until the end to go out.
Yeah.
So
Well, let me ask this for a second. You, Dewey, and Jamie all waited kind of a little bit in that last session. Am I remembering that correctly?
yeah, Dewey never went out though.
Okay. I was wondering if, like, I know Jamie usually waits, and I was wondering if, like, you guys were sort of waiting to see like if
what he was
anybody
gonna
else
do.
was going to go out, or Dewey was sort of waiting to see. Like I don't think. I guess maybe he was waiting to see what Alex did, or maybe he was waiting to see what Tomo did.
So I'll tell you why we did that.
Okay.
So for a while now, and like I can't fault Jamie for this because it's in the rules, but he's been going out at the end of every single session and having like a very clear track with no one in front of him, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like until they patch the rules, like they can't really say that you can't do it.
You can show up. You can show up late to grid and get out on track if you're late to the session. I mean, you're going to be at the
Exactly.
back, but you could show up at any point during the session. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. So it got to the point where we were like, okay, like we're gonna try that too. And since we kind of knew that if he strung a lap together, his car is probably gonna go faster than mine there. Like realistically, like he was having a faster car that weekend. So we wanted to at least just kind of like have some sort of challenge, not to mess up his lap, but just to go out
Just
at
to
the
keep
same
it on
time as
par.
him.
You're trying to keep it on
Yeah.
par. If he's going to get a clear track, you're trying to get the clear track as well.
Exactly.
To be on par. It makes sense.
Yeah. So we're going out, and actually, like they weren't really going to tell us like the timing of the session. We kind of had to figure that out ourselves. But one of the pit officials kind of like gave us a quick like 5-minute signal to let us know there's like around 5 minutes left in the session. So we went out, and like I was doing like a reasonable outlet pace. Still watching my mirrors, making sure guys run out like on flyers and stuff. Jamie, at least from what it looked like to me, kind of went a lot slower than me to try to get like a pretty big gap. So there wasn't any situation where you could catch me. When I started my flyer, he was hanging way back and ended up getting passed by a couple guys that were on their flyers. So he had to abort his first flyer and then go for one after that with like barely any time left in the session. So I did 2 mile laps. My tires were old. The track was hot. I wasn't really going to improve. That wasn't really the goal of that session either because I didn't think I was going to improve anyway. So I came in and I see Jamie set a 55-1. So I'm like, okay, like let's give him props. Like I was hyped for him and everything, clapping as he was coming in. And then I'm like walking back to the car, and my phone, like I took my phone out of the car, and like my phone's just buzzing in my pocket. And I'm like, okay, like what could this be right now? And it was just like blowing up. And it's just like these pictures of Jamie going like 4 off, like at the final corner, like way off track. And it was on his fastest lap. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, when did this happen? Like, no one said anything. I'm walking back to the track, everyone's clapping, and I'm just like, so what just happened? Like, you didn't self-report and then just went off track, and no one said anything to me. And I go up to the GridLife guys, and they're like, oh yeah, like we're investigating this, so just like
Yeah.
stay calm, like it's gonna be okay. And I'm like, yeah, but like it's 4 off, like you can't
Yeah.
do that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those simple things, right? Like we have a level of expectation within Time Attack of people having that truth and honesty, and I'm not saying Jamie wasn't in any which way, but obviously your expectation is to him to immediately come in and say, "Hey, I had 4 off." Check, you're supposed to check the car and do all the common things of, having a 4 off. Obviously, I mean, from what I watched from Jamie during the live stream, it seemed like he was really struggling with the ABS of the car. It was definitely handling better than the last time he drove it. But overall, it looked like he was still struggling with that car and getting it into the correct drivability factor to make him really effective. So yeah, probably still
Yeah.
struggling in that sense.
I think he was just so in the moment. I don't think that he recognized or even thought like, oh, I've gone 4 off, that time isn't going to count. I think like he stayed in it and then drove back up, which was just insane. Like in and of
oh yeah,
itself,
it was so impressive. Like I don't know
that was
how
an
he like
yes, that was an
held that.
insane lap. Yes, that was an insane lap,
Yeah.
and like massive props for that. And I think that he had just been so frustrated throughout the weekend fighting the car that he finally put down that lap. And I think like just all the emotions came out, and he was so pumped that I just like it. I don't know if I would have thought like, oh crap, that lap's not going to count, right? Like it just didn't.
Oh yeah,
which is
I mean, he was
which
hyped.
is
He went
unfortunate.
a full
Yeah,
second faster. Like
Yeah.
that's insane, or over a full second faster. I
Wow.
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's so unfortunate because normally, yeah, that would have been like, man, that was a fast time, but I went off. But like because it was literally the last lap of the weekend, and he finally squeezed it in, like he was so pumped. I hate it for him, but at the same time, he can. I know he doesn't get hardware, and he doesn't get like respect on the timing sheets, but it's like at the same time, like, dude, you threw down a 55.1, right?
oh
Like,
yeah,
you should be proud of that.
props to Jamie for that lap. That was
Yeah,
like insane.
yeah, yeah.
I think like, and he
Uh,
was fighting uphill battle all weekend too. That was the
yep,
craziest
yep,
thing.
yep. And so Street Mod, Dewey DeWitt, first place, 54.4, reset the all-wheel drive record, but did not beat Alan Patton's overall Street Mod record. Alex Moss in the S2000 55.4, so a second behind. And then UCal in third with a 56.2, all really good times. Very, very respectable. Not a huge street mod field, but still a pretty good field. Jamie with a 56.9. So really solid. And then for Street GT for my class, it was the usual suspects up front, Nicholas Hendricks and a Corvette. So this is unfortunate. With my third place, I think that pretty much means I'm going to be out of the podium for the overall, uh, like overall championship.
Okay.
Which is a little crazy considering I've been on the podium 4 out of 5 events, but like that's just how crazy this class is,
That
right?
is
Like,
that's
yeah,
surprising actually that
it
you'd be
looks,
knocked out
yeah,
from that.
yeah, it looks like I'm going to end up fourth. Which is also unfortunate because that means it is going to be for the overall like championship, first, second, and third C6 Corvette Z06s, which like whatever, it is what it is. Our
I was
viewers
gonna ask you
know,
that too, actually, like if they're all Corvettes before you said that.
yes, all C6 Z06s. So if you want to compete in Street GT, that is the car to have. And I already know of a new one that was actually out doing some practicing this weekend at CMP. Luis Zendejas is prepping a new C6 Z06 to go into Street GT. There's also word that Ito is planning to come back into the class next year, so that's going to be another C6 Z06. So it's like there's going to be 4 or 5 of them, maybe 6.
Maybe you get a little nerfage. Maybe they recognize some, I mean, pro
yeah,
and con is that you've proven that you can be in the ballpark. I mean,
yeah,
you're
that's
within
fair.
a second, but it does go in. Maybe there's a little nerfage there. Maybe they, nerf the Corvettes a little,
Yeah,
but that's hard. I mean,
yeah,
rules intrinsically are very, very difficult, especially when you're talking about allowing this gambit of cars to be competitive within that. So, yeah,
yeah.
really
We've
difficult.
Ito actually proposed, which I again, as both Cal and I have said, my southern accent comes out there a little bit, and I say Cal, and it makes it sound like Cal. Um, I give Ito respect for this. He actually proposed that he thinks for Street GT they should implement a rule where if you're under a certain weight, you have a certain tire
I was gonna
size that
say
you have
tire
to run.
restrictions.
So if you're under maybe like 3,200 pounds, which the C6 Z06s would be, maybe you have to run a 285 or 295. And if you're over that, maybe you get to run like the 315 or something like that, just to bring that competition level back down a little bit, which I think is, pretty reasonable. So that anyway, just something interesting that
starts making a lot of sense to me as a Mustang guy, where me looking at that class and going, I can't compete in
yeah,
that gambit.
yeah,
And just I don't know, because I don't know, like the Corvettes and stuff like that. They're not. Are they supercharging or turbo? I mean, this is just
no,
stock LS
yeah,
bolt-ons.
yeah,
Okay, and
No, I
that's
think
where.
for like as far as GridLife classes go, Street GT is like one of the most restricted classes you can go into as far as
yeah,
like what you can do to the cars.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for
It's a
sure.
very tight rule set.
That's right. I forgot it, and there's no arrow allowed and stuff like that. And that's where,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
me, like I can tell why there's no Mustangs in this class because they would be highly uncompetitive, in my opinion. Like,
Mm.
yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, what else we got, Jaeger? What other classes we got?
Well, some of the interesting ones that I'll start on at Club TR. So Peter Gramberg, he's out there doing what he does best, setting some records. He ran a 56.8 in the
That's ridiculous.
BRZ.
It is, dude.
And
That's
I
insane.
was just utterly impressed by this lap time beyond. I mean, honestly, even Evan McLaren, right? In his Integra. And again, I love the diversity. I love that we're rocking a BRZ and a 56.8, and then we got an Integra running a 57.1. Both are just like killing it lap times. And you know what's really funny, and maybe this is just me, maybe I'm just late to the party. Kyle on the live stream was talking about TR and what TR meant, track rat. So I didn't even recognize that TR was track rat. So that's just me and my GridLife noob aspect. But Evan sent a front wheel drive record. Peter sent a rear wheel drive record. So you got 2 records falling in Club TR. And again, highly impressive from both. If I'm remembering correctly, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the gray Integra with like the wide body on it. They called it like a wide body, but it was just like, am I thinking of the right?
No, I think that was a different one.
Oh, okay. I mean, both.
Yeah.
That Integra, I mean, it's great. It's great that I can actually say that there was an Integra, and I'm actually wrong with the Integras because
No, actually, I'm wrong. You are right. It is gray. I do think it does have. Yeah, I do think it has a wide body kit on it.
But it's awesome to see the Integras out there. The entire field, right? There was 17 cars in this field. There were 3 different Integras, multiple like BRZs, Miatas S2000s, an R32, tons of cool cars. And honestly, the lap times pretty stout. Like, yes, we're talking about a 56 to a 102. So, but that's only 6 seconds delta in the entire class.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It is very, very impressive, and that kind of goes to show, in my opinion, right? Like, if you were to take out the top 2 players, you were talking about a 58.7 to a 59.8, and that's 3rd through 9th. Like,
It's crazy.
it's
It's awesome.
super tight. Like literally anybody's game for that 3rd place finish. Jeremy Bailey topped out that 3rd place finish in his FRS with a 58.7. And honestly, like again, I can't stress it enough. Like this is a class that you're going to scratch and scrape and to get anything you can to be able to get on the podium. And that's an abundantly fun thing when you have classes that are that close together. Everyone's having a good time and setting records, so it makes it that much more fun.
Just going quick too on the really fast Club TR times for this track. It's an interesting characteristic of Lime Rock in general because like you find these really light cars all of a sudden being right in the mix with very low power levels of like the fastest time attack cars. And one of the things I found very apparent that was really surprising actually was like the Rush SR series that GridLife also runs. It's like it. So usually like top 10 or so in time attack are like multi-seconds faster than those cars at any given event. Like considerably faster. In this event, almost the entire field of Rush would have been in like the top 8 in time attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And this is where this is where I really enjoy things about like time attack in general, and I say that because this is where you can have a light car making less horsepower and still be competitive. It's not always going to be, because when I think of like going to Coda, going to Road Atlanta, going to tracks like that, it's always going to be a horsepower battle. When you go to a track like this, it's going to mitigate that. So you're not just looking at who's got the highest horsepower. You're going to end up in a situation of saying who's got the most well-balanced car to get it accomplished. And lap times definitely show that picture when we end up in a situation where Club TR time is actually faster than the street time. And it's 1/10 of a second off of the street GT time. So, I mean, that is incredibly quick for those guys. So, speaking of street, so our good friend Joshua Hauka picks up the win with street in his all-wheel drive Impreza. So that car is a beautiful car to watch go around the track. He's a magnificent driver, having a good time with it. And then we got Eddie Siegel in street getting a second place finish with a 59.150 in his Civic Type R, when that would be a record in that class as well for front-wheel drive. And then to round that out in the top 3, we got Cody, and he's going to bring home third place with a 1 minute .455 in his Civic Type R. And then we got a couple of Imprezas, also driven by another Hauka and a Hensley. So nice little, a lot of Imprezas, a lot of Civics. One of the most beautiful cars on track, though, was driven by I don't know how to say his name, but I'm going to go with it. Amos Winter in his 911 SC. That
thing was pretty awesome.
Beautiful. Yeah. It was slow. I'll say it. But again, I'm okay with it being slow. It's the diversity. It's bringing a really cool car to the track, showing it off, and letting people like us get to check it out, look at it, and just enamor about it and say how awesome it is. So really excited to have guys like that bring their cars out, even if they're not going to be overly competitive. Sometimes that's the secondary factor, right? It's the going there and having fun with the guys, having a good time, guys or girls, either one, and just having a good time as an overall.
Let me say also this. I think that it's pretty much wrapped up that Josh Hauka will win street this year.
Nice.
Mathematically, I think it's pretty much wrapped up for him, as well as Luke McGrew and Street GT. I think Club TR is still pretty open, but for those two classes, I think they're pretty much wrapped up for the year.
One of the best names in Time Attack, Luke McGrew.
McGrew.
All right, so give us so Cal, it's your class, man. Give us a rundown.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously I came in third.
Yeah.
And we got, I mean, it was a good weekend for that. Wasn't expecting that at all. I thought that we'd make it like fourth at the best. But then we got Alex Lawson's Super K. That thing's been around in Street Mod for a long time now. That was actually one of the first kind of like controversial builds that we had in Street Mod, because there was a lot of questions about that car's transmission being a dual clutch, and now it's one of like the least of the concerns in the class now as far as legality. No, we got sequentials, thanks Dewey.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we got moving on to Dewey. We got Dewey DeWitt in first place. He's been killing it this season. Like it's impressive to see them like making that thing a lot more reliable. I mean, I know they've been doing some engine refreshes this season, but compared to years past, it's like a night and day difference. And I think that's kind of been one of the things that has made him kind of elevate and actually just kind of winning almost every event this year. That thing just works now. We're not trying to figure out why it's blowing up every event.
Yeah, I'd 100% echo that, right? Like having a car that you can trust, believe in, and have the ability to just drive it hard makes it exponentially easier to go out there and perform and have a good showing at these events. So if Dewey's in a situation where he's having a good time and the car's just performing and the team's got it on lock, then it's going to elevate his performance as a whole. And he's really been able to lay it down this year. So agreed.
Oh yeah. And they found a nice loophole too with the sequential. It's a sequential gear set.
That's true.
So
that is true.
Yeah, it's not a transmission, from what everybody says. Because if you call it a gear set, then it fits in the rules. Because it's the stock housing.
That's definitely a loophole that's the best loophole I've ever heard.
Yeah.
on a complete and utter side note into the abyss. Congratulations to Devin Hoffman getting engaged this weekend, setting out using the track as a way to get the task done. So she had a good time. She had a good showing with a 59.8 09 in her WRX as well. A couple WRXs in that class kind of too, so that's kind of cool. And a really big outlier, an Outback. Don't see those come out to race all that often, so congratulations.
Yeah,
to Jeff
I
Daniels.
saw a little bit of that car. Like I actually didn't even know they were in Street Mod for a bit, but that was really cool to see that.
Again, I like diversity. It's great. I love seeing just anything and everything coming out. Have a good time. Kind of a cool story. It's like I love the Jackie Ding stories of like I showed up, I ran a lap, and then I pieced the hell out, and I went to a completely different autocross.
I love it.
Congratulations to Jackie Ding taking the first place in track mod with a record 54.168 in his M2. Apparently he felt like ain't no one gonna catch me, so he ditched off and ran and did an autocross and got second place, if I do believe, at that autocross that he went to as an overall. So congratulations to Jackie Ding in that. An
Let me just put
oldie.
this out there too. He street drove it.
Yeah, exactly. And then he drove it
Yeah.
there. Yes. Super crazy. Again, that's the kind of stuff Jackie Ding is known for, being wild and just going out to good events. He even posted, I believe, he said, I can't wait for next year. Hopefully I don't have to do the same, but he gets to compete in both events. So our guy Chris Boersma, he's been around Time Attack for a very, very long time. He's done a lot in that Civic. He got second place with a 54.883, which actually, at the end of the day, Jackie's time was a little touch and go. I mean, he could have. 7/10 is a lot, but at the same time, you never know. You never know. But Igor in his all-wheel drive track mod Model S, he sets the record in track mod, and again, he's coming strong, man. He's getting bigger and better every event, pushing that car really hard. I'll be interested to see as he continues to build it up. We'll have to get him on the show and talk about how do you make a Tesla go faster? Do you just like plug it in longer, or do you like jumpstart it with extra car batteries? I don't know, but maybe Igor can tell us how he's going to make that thing go even faster in the future.
It's just all witchcraft.
I know, right?
He posted up he posted up his lap video, and that thing is just insane. Like it is seeing how fast it accelerates. Like I think it was something I was trying to look from the apex of turn 7 at the downhill, like at the apex of turn 7, or I'm sorry, at the apex of turn 7 to the exit of turn 7. He picked up something like 20 miles an hour, 25, like
That's
it was
nuts.
insane. And he was touching 160 at the end of the front straight.
Instant power and torque, baby.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
to talk to him too this past weekend, and that car weighs 5,000 pounds.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
I didn't yeah.
I'm
Like it's nuts seeing the kind of lap time that thing can do.
Yeah.
you got to make
It's
up for
crazy.
the power.
It is crazy.
Weighs as
Witchcraft,
much
like
as
you
an
said.
SUV.
Yeah, absolute witchcraft.
And some notable mentions here. So you got Tom O'Gorman in the 442, which I have no idea. You guys have to tell me what's the 442. Am I losing my mind?
He was supposed to be driving
yeah.
a Cutlass, like a Trans Am kind of Cutlass 442 build.
Oh, okay.
But it ended up having some issues, so he didn't
He
run
drove
it.
Special
so,
K, and that's the time for the Special K?
Super
I think
K.
so. Yeah, actually, yeah, that was
I like
that lap
Special K. I like Special K. It's called Super K.
Super K.
Super K. Not the cereal.
Same,
but yeah,
similar.
He jumps into Super K, but he's doing Tom O'Gorman things, man. I mean, he sets a time 1/10 faster than Alex Moss, who is the normal driver of that car. Like, Tom, man, come on. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to give a shout out to Dave Bamforth. This Cayman looked absolutely beautiful on track. Love seeing this car go around. It looked amazing. Bucky Lassick showed up in that WRX, which give that man some more power, please. They were talking something on the live stream, something about like 400 and something. Come on, guys, put a bigger turbo in. Let's go. Give him like 600 to make this thing fun. come on, give Bucky some power. Let's let this thing go and have some fun. Obviously, you got Mike Burrows. He ran out in the 244 GTK, having some good time. Beautiful car. I love his YouTube videos. Always got to give him a shout out. I thoroughly enjoy watching him do his thing. Although that transmission of his is, of course, and I don't want to say of course, but I feel like it's an of course. That transmission, that I think it's a Caps, is I think the name of it. It always gives him problems. But it blew up and grenaded or something like that, and has like
Man.
get a. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like I get it. It's probably budgetary constrictions and those type of things. But man, it sucks when you got to pull a sequential gear set and replace it after such a short time. And that's after he went to World Time Attack last year and did the same thing, and he had to buy a second transmission while he was out there. So that's not what you want to be doing in your sequential transmissions, is replacing them every 6 months.
No.
So okay, that kind of rounds us out. I mean, there was rounds us out in track mod, and then we'll talk about the sweet victory of Jimmy Rauk and his unlimited front-wheel drive record-setting Civic with a 51.873 blisteringly fast lap time from him. And it was just eternally amazing to watch a Civic go out there and set the overall fastest lap of the event, crushing everybody under the weight of his dainty little Civic. So it was just amazing to see him go out there, and the car just looked planted. It looked under control. And the most impressive thing, kind of what you were talking about before, Kilgore, is dude, he didn't set it on his first lap. I don't recall him setting it on his second lap. It was on a lap that I was like, oh yeah, there's no way he's gonna go faster. And then he went faster.
Yeah. Houghton and Kyle Heyer had kind of like forgotten about him. They had moved on to other cars, and then Houghton came back and he was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, Jimmy Rauk just set a new front wheel drive record at 51.8 because it was like his fourth lap or something like that." So absolutely crazy. But yeah, dude, that car is just insane, and I know that they've really got that car working this year. I know last year they were kind of having some trouble with it, but this year, like, they've got that thing dialed in. It is sick.
Yeah, it looked solid like all weekend. At least like in the live stream portions I could watch after the sessions. I always do that too. I always got to pull up the live stream and just kind of like see what everybody else is doing.
That's a good way to catch up real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we got second place with Jake Ertel.
Ertel, yeah.
And him and his Corvette throwing down a 55.384. And Jeremy Lauder, so he also does Pikes Peak. He's done some other events, notably in his Camaro, did a 56.122. That's a good lap time from him. I think I talked to him a little bit. He said that still had some time left in the car, like we generally always do. But he was able to get a little bit more lap time out of that car than I think more than I expected him to be honest with you. So it was a good lap from him. He put down some impressive time there. So that was good to see. And rounded out the rest with another Corvette, another Civic, and an M3, kind of in the shadows there of everybody else. Just kind of that unlimited class, probably in the catch-all type of category type of thing. But man, it was a good event. I mean, it was really nice to watch. I will say this: we kind of touched on Kilgore's incident that he kind of got away with pretty easy. There was a WRX, which I'm trying to remember the name, and then my brain cannot. Was it Max? The WRX that biffed?
Yeah, I'm not sure their name, but they were part of the whole Subi Mods team.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was Max Gorley, who had an incident going into turn one, or at the outside of turn one.
That looked pretty gnarly. Glad to see that he's okay. Glad to see he's doing good. Kind of interested in a sense what he's gonna do to that car now, because at that point it's kind of one of those weird things where you're like, okay, time to go unlimited. Because he's gonna have to cut up that car pretty good to get all those repairs out. But glad to see he's okay. So good to see that he's okay. He had the safety, looking in the car, you see he had the Halo seat. Obviously, I'm making assumptions. He probably had a Hans device, Halo seat, correct harnesses, all the right stuff, which is going to make it so that a guy like that can take that hit and walk away. I mean, it was a pretty gnarly hit. I mean, the trunk, the wing broke off. The whole front was pretty smashed up. So You hate to see that happen to anybody. You'd never want to see someone crash, but at the same time, glad if he's in a crash, I'm glad to see that he made it out okay and everything like that. There was also an MR2 earlier in the weekend that also did some scrapage all over the side, but again, that guy was able to kind of just be okay with the superficial damage, and he was able to just run it throughout the entire weekend, which cool for him. I mean, I think it was Noah who with the MR2. Glad to see that he was able to continue to have fun for the rest of the weekend, because you hate to see someone like ruin their weekend and not be able to participate. So glad to see he was able to get out there and have a good time.
But, well, Jager, we are forgetting. I don't want you to forget. Maybe the most time attack class of time attack, Club SC.
Oh,
let's give them some credit. Mr. Sam Dooling coming out in first, and I think he reset the Club SC record, I think. Although I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'd probably go with
Kal, I don't know if you know off the top of your head or not, but yeah,
Sam
I'm
not
Dooling
sure what
first.
the record is for that one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with
there's some drama in that class too this past weekend, because there's
really,
yeah, I think it was one guy, he's in like second or third place, and he came out and like blew the dyno and didn't know his car was tuned.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I bought it this way.
Actually, I also like I was talking to Caleb, one of our other photographers at GridLife. He's friends with Sam also, and he was saying that like that's what the guy said, that he bought the car that way. That was his excuse.
I mean,
maybe
if you're gonna have one, at least you could say, "Well, I didn't do it."
Yeah, that guy did it, who used to run in Club SC, and that I didn't do it.
Well,
the guy I bought it from. Penalize him.
You know what they say: if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah, I mean,
what they say. I have always wondered what is going to happen if that dyno ever breaks down in the middle of a weekend.
Oh yeah, that's gonna. I don't want that to happen, because I just wait and see all the Facebook posts after that.
Oh yeah. Then there'll be accusations out the yin.
Yeah, yeah. I just try to stay off of the track battle groups sometimes because of that. There's just too much.
Well, all right, guys. I mean, we spent quite a bit of time talking about Kal, talking about the results. I'll kind of kick it over to you a little bit, Kal. Is there anything else that kind of stuck out for you for the weekend? Anything else that kind of jumped out, interesting? Anything cool that you heard in the paddock?
I mean, like, honestly, just the fact that like it's just Lime Rock. I mean, that event always just has the best vibes. It really does. That's why I keep going back. Like I said, I didn't think the car was going to work at all, but I still wanted to go because there's just something about the whole like Circuit Legends Fest. It's just, it focuses on like the motorsport like solely for that event, and the spectators are very passionate there, and I love seeing that. Like every single year, I think that's the event where you get like just the most questions about the car, and we always just have like just a lot of people genuinely interested in time attack, and I like seeing that.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
One of the things that I thought was really interesting was, and I kind of equate it to, it's a small circuit, right? It's like 1 point something miles. It's less than a minute for fast cars. But once you kind of get in there, it's laid out really efficiently. It's kind of like you get in a small car, but then the interior, you're like, this seems bigger than it is. And like you have space. They had a bunch of cool cars there with like the car show, all the people camping out. It was a really neat event. Like it does have its own vibe. Road America is a really cool event, like for totally different reasons. It's huge. There's people everywhere. This one's like a bit closer, but you don't feel like you're cramped like you do at like Midwest Fest, right? Like it's just a really cool event. And I'm glad I went, like really surprised. It just, like Kal said, like it's kind of unique. And the fans were super cool. So yeah, absolutely. Must go if you're ever around that area for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, other than that, guys, that's all I got. Kilgore, how about you send us out, my man?
Absolutely. Kal, where can people follow you and keep up with you on your socials?
So like I mostly just post on Instagram, so it's just at Kal Fortner, just my name KalFortner on Instagram. And I usually post event recaps, personal stuff, fun stuff throughout the weekend. Just you can follow all my racing stuff on there. And then the Sorry Al's Auto Body account, that's where we post more of our like business and shop builds and stuff. But yeah, that's where you can find me. I really appreciate you guys having me on too. This is a lot of fun talking on here.
Absolutely love having you on.
Absolutely. What events do you have for the rest of the year?
So coming up, we got GridLife Chicago, or GridLife Chicago Land, because it's in Joliet, at Audubon Country Club, and then
Is that what you pretty much consider your like home track where you have a lot of laps?
yeah, and it's kind of funny. Like it's not really one of my favorite tracks, but it's awesome because it's like a half hour from my parents' house, so like it's very easy to get to, and it's I think about like 50 minutes from here. So like it's
Okay.
nice and like being able to sleep in your own bed for a race weekend. It's very rare.
Yes.
So I got that one, and then GridLife Laguna, and like that's one that I'm very excited about because I've won in street mod both years that they've had it.
Okay.
So I really
And
want to try to get that again.
Heck yeah, go for the
it looks
trifecta.
like
Yeah.
that's right. It looks like Dewey's pretty much wrapped up the championship for first place for the overall championship for street mod this year, but second, third looks to still be pretty open. You, Ryan Matthews, Jamie Santos fighting for that. How do you think your chances are going to be to end up on the podium for the year-end championship?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. But like anything can happen. It's always like because we got the best competition, I think, in street mod. I think that's like one of the most competitive time attack classes you can be in. That's why I love it. But I think there's a pretty good shot. I think GridLife Chicago is gonna suit that car well, and then Laguna, like I just love that track. I always find myself just finding pace there and kind of just getting a lot of confidence right away. So I'm feeling pretty good about being able to put up a good fight for second place at least, and hopefully we don't have to do a last minute entry for pit race.
One last question.
Awesome.
One last question.
Okay.
Favorite time attack track of all time?
There you go.
Road Atlanta by far.
God, these losers in the Road Atlanta.
It's the best track. I'll give you like Laguna Seca is a very close second place, maybe.
Okay.
But I will always say Atlanta. I love that place so much. It's so much fun.
All right.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, make sure you follow us on Instagram. You can do that at Perfect Lap Podcast. Check us out. We try and keep you guys up to date with what's going on around the time attack scene. You can check out our website at perfectlappodcast.com. If you want to email the show, if you have any content that you want us to put out, if you have anybody that you would like us to get on the show and talk to, let us know. We always enjoy putting out content that you guys are interested in listening to. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Myself, Kal, and Mark Jager are all going to be at Laguna. So come by and come say hello to us. Come find us. Come check out Kal's Wicked AMG GTS. Come by and say hello to me and Jaeger. It's going to be a good time. We're looking forward to it. As always, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode with Kal Fortner. For all you time attackers out there, keep pushing, go fast, take chances. We'll see you in the next one.